Smith, Van Buren, all the way up I-49 throughout all of northwest Arkansas. Really, at this point, we're in the clear from severe weather in Benton, Washington County, Crawford County, pretty much all of Sebastian County now, LaFleur, Sequoia. We're in the clear from the severe weather. We can do whatever we need to do. No worries. It's just this area from Boonville to Paris, up to Coal Hill, Clarksville, still around Waldron. I'm still a little bit concerned, at least the storm to the south, around Y-City, around Mena. These are the areas where we still have very intense storms. We've got several tornado warnings. This one's about to be canceled over Waldron, so Waldron, we can come out of our safe spot. That's at least a positive for us. But southeast of Waldron, we've got another storm, very intense, about to come here over Y-City, and that's going to be one that could kind of revamp itself, and we've seen the circulation kind of come and go with it. But near Y-City, we don't want to be on the roads there. That circulation's still fairly intense and coming right toward Y-City. So coming right up, 71, and you can see Highway 71 right here through Y-City, and the circulation with the storm right in through here. So still kind of a concern for us there. Whereas in Waldron, nope, we're done. And this circulation is going to stay to the south of Waldron. So that's positive news there. In Mena, as we zoom out a little bit right here.
And Darby, when you have a second, we do have some more images that were sent to us to our Local Arkansas page.
Yes.
I think we have 2 new images.
Give me 1 minute. I want to finish this thought. In Mena, our severe threat is just about over. We're actually starting to see the rotation pass to the east of us in Mena. We're not quite totally done just yet, but we're seeing that rotation spin off to the east, and so we're almost done with that threat in Mena as well. But Posey Hollow, Pine Grove, Inc., up to Y-City, still some concern in these areas. And then farther south too, all the way down to Baker Spring, Duckett, the area here is southern Polk County, around Hartley in southern Polk County, towards Shady. There's still some threat there. Let's go ahead, and Robert, you said you had some new pictures and video?
Yeah, I believe we've got a pair of new pictures. They continue to pour into our Local Arkansas page. What are we looking at here again, Kelly? This is Fairway Circle in Springdale. That looks like tornado damage, no doubt. As you can see, the roofs of the homes there. Same place here, a little bit of a lower view. Just significant damage to Fairway Circle in Springdale. Darby and I were talking earlier that the damage that we have seen, earlier this morning looked indicative of, maybe EF2 or some weak EF3.
This looks like EF1, EF2 damage, but I mean, those roofs, it looks like EF1, EF2 to me. So definitely an intense tornado.
Yeah, continue to send those pictures and videos to our Local Arkansas page. This is the best way that we can convey the information out to you folks, as long as you do it safely. Make sure there's no live or down power lines near your neighborhood. We continue to get some images into us, and we're looking at some of those right now. This is Taziki's Cafe on Joyce Boulevard from Lacey Ann. Sent these pictures to us. We'll get these on the screen for you here in a minute. So the Tazikis got hit then? Is that what? Okay, so I'm going to start pulling some of these up.
You can tell by the doors they were actually out from the building, so that was not.
Yeah, that is interesting. Martin, you can't hear Martin, but Martin says you can kind of see how the doors have been pulled out. So yeah, that suction maybe. And we'll zoom in a little bit there, but you can see that damage to the Tazikis there, and this is in North Fayetteville, right? I mean, this is
on Joyce Boulevard.
I know this Tazikis. I've gone to it. That's incredible right there. And see if we can pull up another image here of this Tazikis. And hard to tell much there, but a little bit of damage to the fence and, of course, the windows as well. in that area. So that was earlier.
It's important. The other thing I want to stress as we're getting under daylight now, if you're not in the Springdale, Johnson area, if you're not a resident, not the time to go sightseeing. Leave the emergency responders there. Let them do their thing. The last thing they need to worry about is crowd control from people that are trying to just get a look at all of the damage. It's just too dangerous, too.
And between, again, Thompson and Old Mission on Don Tyson.
Yes.
I don't think you can even get through there right now. And certainly you don't want to be trying to get through there right now. So that area of Don Tyson between Thompson and Crossover, Mission, whatever you want to call it right there. But you can't even get through there because there's so much damage and we're going to see some more. This is a picture right here from Highway 265 between Ford Avenue and Robinson, Springdale from Vicky Beach, and some damage on the road there. I think Kelly's got some new pictures for us as well. All right, Kelly, where's this from, Kelly? Don Tyson. This is on Don Tyson in Springdale. Damage to a home, what appears to be a home there.
And we also got an email from a viewer that lives off the Don Tyson by the George Elementary School. She tells us that her house is fine, but their barn and sheds are damaged, lots of trees down. She got woken up from her bedroom window breaking, and she was covered in glass. They were not injured.
Yeah, I mean, how lucky.
Yes.
I mean, just incredible. But again, we still have ongoing nasty storms. I want to get back to these. Big concern for me here is the straight line wind threat in Logan County coming into Boonville right now. All right, coming into Boonville right now, that's a big concern. About to come into Magazine, making its way right toward Mount Magazine. After that, Subiaco, Paris area right here. So this is moving off to the northeast. You can see the movement with it. This is going to be a pretty intense bow echo. You can see how it bows out right here. And if we take a look at our base velocity data with this storm, we can see how it's really starting to go up a little bit right there.
You're going to want to go to the Y-City camera.
Okay, let's go to the Y-City camera.
It is not a friendly environment right now along Highway 71 in Y-City.
Okay, so that's what things look like there now. And again, you've got a tornado warning, and I hope that this person knows that there's a tornado warning there in Y-City. This is looking over Highway 71. Here comes another one. If you're out driving around and you're driving around, you know there's a tornado warning, you just want to immediately get to the first sturdy structure you can find. Now, obviously, in this area, it's very rural. There's not going to be hardly anything. So you just don't want to be on the road.
This is just north by a mile or two of the intersection with Highway 271.
Okay.
So that big intersection that takes you over to Hot Springs, we're just north of that.
Okay. All right. Keep an eye on that, Robert. If you see anything change, we'll come back to it. Right now, it looks like mainly just heavy rain. But very intense winds is coming through Boonville, the Colts area, Chisholmville area, Brownsville area as well. In our radar indicating winds, not showing insanely strong winds, mostly in the 35 to 40 mile per hour range there in a lot of places. But I suspect the winds could be even a little bit stronger than that, if not now, eventually, as the storm continues toward Mount Magazine, toward Paris. As the storm continues in that direction, that'll continue to be more and more of a concern. We still have some rotation as well. Switch back over to storm relative velocity data here, if we could. We still have some spin, it looks like, here in Johnson County, particularly right around the Harmony area. No tornado warning has been issued, but there's some spin up there. So, and if not any tornado potential right now, at least the straight line wind potential coming right here through Clarksville, north up toward areas in northern Johnson County as you get into the mountains right here. So pretty intense little area right here from Clarksville north all the way up to the Madison and Newton County borders into the mountains. So pretty intense right there. I wouldn't want to be driving down I-40 into this. So again, staying off the roads until this gets through. Same thing goes for Boonville and the area still in southern Franklin County. Now Crawford, Sebastian County, we're good to go. We can go about the rest of our day without any serious concerns other than maybe some flooded roads. Can't rule that out. We do have still this very intense storm over Scott County, the tornado potential with it just to the south, this new tornado potential. We've had several storms come through Scott County with tornado warnings. Waldron, we were really concerned about for a time. Waldron, we don't need to be in our safe spot right now, but if you live just to the southeast of Waldron, that's a different story, and not very far southeast either. We're talking this area right here around Keener Parks, that's kind of in the path of this potential circulation. And then here's Waldron. The Pines, not quite that area. Pleasant Valley, not quite as well, but just to the southeast of there, we're still kind of in that area of fairly significant concern right there. And that is right there along, I believe, Highway 28. So yeah, that's kind of the area. Need more Keener on off to the north and east from there, where we've got still some potential, certainly for a quick tornado. And we'll come back here to storm relative velocity data, and yeah, we can see that circulation still right there around Keener. Okay, and Waldron's up right here. All right, so again, Waldron's not in the path of this. This right here is going to continue off to the northeast. All right, it's kind of moving toward, see Oleo right there, Union Hill.
And this warning goes until 8 a.m. So, another 8 minutes or so. And the warning to the south of you, Darby, for those wondering, the one affecting Polk County goes until 8:15. So about another 20 minutes or so for that one.
Yeah, and this one might actually be trying to ramp up again. All right, so they have issued a tornado warning for Johnson County. Let's get to this, and yep, there it is. And we've also got something going on right here in Logan County we'll have to watch. But so that area that they saw that we were talking about around Harbany, I think that's what's kind of prompted the tornado warning from the National Weather Service in Little Rock. Got another secondary area of little spin, it looks like there, perhaps anyway, a little bit farther east. Yeah. But, yeah, so the Ferris Springs area, Mount Zion area, north of Clarksville. Clarksville isn't technically in the tornado warning. So we're talking about areas north of Clarksville where we've still got, or where we now have a tornado warning along Highway 21 there. And, again, Paris Springs, Mount Zion, Ferris Springs, should I say, Hickory Flat, those areas.
This storm is moving northeast at 35 miles an hour.
Okay, so a little bit slower. A lot of different, I don't know if I've ever seen this much fluctuation in storm speed.
Yeah, forward speed, yeah.
I mean, the 30 mile per hour difference.
Right.
Between the slowest and fastest storms. That's pretty extraordinary, which kind of represents the amount of shear in the atmosphere in different places. And again, a secondary storm I'm still very much concerned about is this one here moving toward Paris. That one's going to have potential to do damage from straight line winds. All right. Basically what's happening here is the winds aloft are getting pushed into this storm and getting pushed down to surface level. And so on radar, it looks like the rain's getting kind of bulging outward from the storm. That's why you get this bow echo right here. And when you see that, that's indicative of potentially very strong winds coming right there toward Paris. All right.
And what's important, the other thing that to note here, Darby, is conditions across the state throughout the day are going to go downhill. our conditions will improve.
Yeah, we're looking good once this moves through by about 9 a.m.
But they're expecting a major league severe weather outbreak across eastern portions of the state. You get down into portions of Mississippi, eastern Louisiana, western Alabama. In fact, I will go to that real quickly. I'll show you what we're talking about. I'll remove Darby's hand tracker there. Here's the area. So we're out in the clear this morning, but if we move this outward, you can see a bad day is shaping up most likely for most, if not all, of Mississippi. You get that daytime heating, greater instability, and a very, very large moderate risk there to our south and east. So keep that in mind if you've got family there, if you've got travel plans. It could get very, very rough in that part of the country later today.
Yeah, and the fact that we're already getting tornadoes in our, at least one tornado anyway, in our area, and these very quickly intensifying storms. I don't know if that's indicative of what we see later today or not. Hopefully not, but clearly a high degree of potential for this system to produce damage and tornadoes.
The Weather Service in Little Rock is saying that storm in Johnson County demonstrates the environment's, and this is a quote, demonstrates the environment's supportive nature of rapid development of low-level rotation. And I think that's
fair.
Truer words have never been spoken.
Yeah, it's fair.
Yeah.
It is fair. The interesting thing about it is it's in the middle of this kind of what we call stratiform rain all over the place. And usually you don't get a lot of tornadoes in situations like this because there's just too much downward motion, usually not enough instability. But in this case, the shear is just right and the instability is just enough to allow for the development of tornadoes. And we may have one on the ground right now. We don't have confirmation with this particular storm, but we certainly have been seeing that spin was around Harmony earlier. We can kind of put this in motion. We could see that spin really intensifies right over Harmony, which is why we were thinking there might need to be a tornado warning issued. Then they issued the tornado warning, and it's still going right here. Still going, and a little bit on the intense side here. It looks like there might be a decent amount of gate-to-gate shear here. I'm going to go ahead and query this data. Robert, what do you have?
RDOT is reporting down in Polk County along Highway 71. They are starting to get reports of some downed trees.
Okay.
In and around just outside of the Mena area, right where we saw some of that rotation earlier from one of those tornadically worn storms. So, the damage just isn't confined to Washington County. We're starting to see wind damage in other parts of the area now as well.
What we're seeing right here in Johnson County near Lone Pine, this is what we call a 90 mile per hour. We had 90 mile per hour gate-to-gate shear, and that's kind of started to go away. We still have rotation here, but not maybe quite as much, and certainly no gate-to-gate. What I mean by gate-to-gate is when you have, let's say, a red pixel right next to a green pixel, indicating opposite movement of winds right next to each other, very intense, and that's strongly indicative of a tornado. We don't have that anymore, as you can see right here, but still some intense circulation. And again, this is coming toward Garber. We need to be in our safe spot right now in Garber, and really right now at the moment where it's located right there over Highway 21. And right over the ozone. So in ozone, we definitely want to be in our safe spot right this moment. Hickory Flat, Gillian Settlement right here, right on Highway 21 as we speak is where that circulation is located. Doesn't scream tornado on the ground, but there could be one on the ground. I mean, this is getting a little bit farther away from the radar, and as these storms get farther away from the radar, the confidence in what you're seeing on radar starts to drop, and it also means that you're looking farther up in the atmosphere with these storms. You don't know necessarily what's going on near ground level quite as good. Very intense winds look to be coming here toward right into Paris right here. And it looks like this is actually intensified a little bit. Let's query some of this data right here. This just came through Boonville, and I'm sure the folks in Boonville can tell you it was a little bit intense at times. So close to 50-mile-per-hour winds being estimated by radar right in through here between Paris and Grey Rock, and then between Paris and kind of the Driggs area, again, right around 50-plus mile-per-hour winds being estimated in some of those areas. So pretty intense, pretty intense as this area right here pushes off to the east, northeast. You can see it's pushing right toward Scranton, the Hartman area, Coal Hill likely to get hit by these stronger winds. Eventually, Clarksville could also get hit by these more intense winds. So these are straight line winds pushing through Logan County towards Subiaco. So again, not necessarily a situation in which we need to get into our safe spot, but certainly one in which we want to be indoors and away from windows. We don't want to be driving around there in Logan County or Johnson County at this moment. We've been saying that for a little while now. Hopefully everybody's getting that message. And if you're just now joining us, we do still have one tornado warning now. That's good. They've dropped the tornado warnings in Scott County. Those are still pretty intense storms, but at least the circulation's kind of gone away, whereas we still have some of the circulation here north of Clarksville. So Clarksville's not quite a part of Clarksville, I guess, is in the tornado warning. But I could tell you, everyone in Clarksville, we are not in the path of a tornado at this exact moment. The tornado warning that was issued was for a circulation that's well north of town right now, right over Highway 21, moving toward Garber. And so it's Garber where we need to be getting into our safe spot right now. After that, Rosetta, and then into southern Newton County, toward Limestone and some of those areas where in the mountains where this circulation is going. Not terribly strong circulation right there over Highway 21, Ferris Springs, Gillian Settlement coming toward Garber, but enough that I can understand why the tornado warning is still in place and probably still needs to be.
And Darby, I do want to shift to the north here just briefly. We did get an email from a viewer telling us that he was near the intersection of Main Drive and Bryant Place, which is in Fayetteville, or which is in Springdale, right off Thompson Street, right off 71, basically right next to Lake Fayetteville, and said there's very, very heavy damage in that area, which a lot of businesses in that area, as I look at the maps, a lot of restaurants. I'm sure as the day goes on, more and more damage reports will come into the area. This is south of Don Tyson in what's considered the Shady Grove area, between Shady Grove and Johnson. So the damage will continue to come in this morning, despite the fact that right now in that area we don't have any severe thunderstorm warnings, we don't have any tornado warnings, but the damage has already been done. But it's still raining in that area of Fayetteville, Johnson, Springdale. That's just hampering the cleanup efforts and the search and rescue efforts, if they are ongoing, as emergency crews try to make sure everybody's safe. Now, thankfully, as we've gone through the morning, I know we heard from officials in Springdale, no reported injuries so far this morning. And that most likely that tornado that rolled through at 4 a.m., we're going now on about 4 hours since most likely it touched down. 4 hours without any injuries. That's certainly
and we've
some
been on
good
the
news.
air. We've been on the air that entire time.
Yeah, since 10 after 4.
Getting repeated new tornado warnings and reporting on the damage there, and of course alerting folks when the first tornado warning got issued. And most people were asleep, and many people probably never even got the warning or weren't even aware of it. At least not initially.
Correct.
But we were on the air covering it and on Facebook Live and all of that. So hopefully that was helpful for some folks. And we are still watching this storm in Johnson County. Tornado warning for it. This is in the mountainous region of northern Johnson County. All right, mountainous region of northern Johnson County. north of Clarksville. They've kind of eaten away at the tornado warning as the storm has progressed farther to the northeast. We still expect most of this severe threat by 9 a.m. to really kind of be in an area east of Clarksville where it's moving into Pope County and starting to exit our viewing area. And then it becomes really an issue for central Arkansas, north Arkansas, south Arkansas, eventually east Arkansas, and outside of our area, outside of our viewing area. But we still have plenty of activity. Still some very intense activity here in western Scott County. I want to go ahead and put this in motion, this intense line right here, kind of ongoing. Robert, you got some new information for us?
Well, no, I mean, one of the things that I wanted to add was sometimes, not all the time, but sometimes when you get these lines of storms, for people that may not know, they sometimes they compete with each other, and it limits how strong they can get and how, their chances of rotating or, rotating enough where we have to issue a tornado warning because they're all competing for the same instability. You almost want to see that line of storms rather than individual storms out there. So, yes, there could be some bow echoes, there could be some gusty, damaging winds, but
it spreads out that intensity a little bit.
It dissipates the energy a little bit more. Yeah,
exactly. And so that, I totally agree with that. Unfortunately, sometimes you get damage from the straight line winds, as you mentioned there, and you can still get quick tornadoes within these lines. And I suspect that's what's going to happen today, Robert. I think we're going to have a lot of these lines producing both wind damage and tornadoes across Arkansas, Tennessee, Mississippi, Louisiana. We're also going to have individual supercells. It's going to be all of it, the whole gamut.
But I think what you can do to reiterate, Darby, and people are still just waking up. Northwest Arkansas, Benton County, most of Washington County, Carroll County, the severe threat is over for you. You can see the back edge of the rain is actually pushing through Benton County right now. Fort Smith, Van Buren.
And we still have some rain behind it. So
correct.
We won't probably see the rain completely end in northwest Arkansas permanently until late morning, and then we'll see another chance of showers and maybe a thunder shower in the afternoon. But
our showers, not severe weather.
And so I would say at this point, Carroll County, Madison County, Franklin County, just about completely out of the severe weather. Of course, all of Benton, Washington, Crawford, Sebastian, and Waldron and on to the west. We're done with the severe weather across east Oklahoma, done with severe weather, Mena to the west. So that's kind of positive news there, that it really is just a few of us now that are left in that severe threat within the 4029 viewing area. That means nothing, I'm sure, for folks in Clarksville who are about to get hit again by this next line that's just now come into Coal Hill, moving right into Clarksville. And the big concern with this one has been straight line wind damage, but that a switch could get flipped, and then maybe we're talking more of a circulation with it again. I mean, that could happen. I don't want to rule that out, but right now, mainly a straight line wind threat coming toward Clarksville. Though I want to take a close look at this because the shape of this storm is taking on now does concern me a little bit. It may be trying to develop what we call a bookend vortice in there. Hard to say. It's trying to rotate a little bit as it comes towards Clarksville. That one's trying to rotate a little bit. Still mainly a straight line wind threat, and radar estimating those winds right around 50 miles per hour, 50, 55. So coming right into Clarksville. Hopefully this just stays as straight line winds and we don't see more rotation develop here, but if it does, it would be right over the Clarksville area. But at the very least, some very strong straight line winds over the Coal Hill area right now, right over the Arkansas River, about to come into Jamestown, Clarksville. Could affect the Knoxville area, Lamar area, certainly with time as well. So that's something to watch there. That is definitely something to watch there, because we're seeing a little bit of what we call bounded weak echo region. That's just where the reflectivity goes from very intense to very light very quickly. It's got a sharp gradient right here. When you've got that sharp of a gradient, that's also indicative of a very strong updraft, a storm that could kind of try to organize into a rotating storm. Which is not what we want to see, but we are seeing that as it approaches Clarksville. So that's going to bear close watching over the next 30 minutes or so. And the storm in northern Johnson County, not looking as organized. I like that. That's very good news. The rotation with it's very broad. Nothing about this screams tornado. I like what I'm seeing right here in northern Johnson County. But again, we're seeing a little bit of a circulation now develop on the back edge of this storm, with the storm approaching Clarksville. And actually, not even necessarily bookend vortice type of deal, really just kind of becoming more of a supercell structure, if anything. Still kind of what we call quasi-linear convective system. That's just a line of storms that's highly sheared and sometimes has potential of a tornado. But anyway, that line is intensifying. We'll have to watch this area of southeast Scott County as well. So several storms still kind of watching carefully along this kind of broken line that runs east of Fort Smith. Still several things in there that concern me. Interestingly enough, the one that concerns me maybe the least at the moment, moving forward over the next 20 minutes or so, is this one coming into Newton County in northern Johnson County, where we have the tornado warning. Do we have any new information, Martin or Robert? Martin, have we been able to get anything new?
Yeah, we've got a couple new.
We do?
We have a couple new pictures and videos. One video actually was sent from a viewer out in the Oak Ridge Trailer Park, and she was actually showing that her entire roof had actually almost fallen in.
Okay.
We'll try to get that image here in just a second. Still have that tornado warning. I'm just updating what's coming in from the National Weather Service chat here.
And I'm trying to bring in that picture that Martin was just talking about. Okay, so I'm going to go to this first. This is a video, Martin. This is a video we're going to show first.
This is from the Oak Ridge Trailer Park in Springdale.
I'm going to bring this on over. 1 second here.
There it is.
There we go.
This looks like some
damage inside of a house, the roof taken off. And where was this at, Martin?
This is an Oak Ridge Trailer Park in Springdale, Arkansas. So it was with that initial storm that came in, about 3.5 hours ago.
Okay, Oak Ridge, the Oak Ridge Trail Park. Looks like we've clearly got quite a bit of damage here to what looks to be I believe, a bedroom. Hard to say. I can't rule out that being a church even, really. But anyway, obviously damage there. We've got some other stuff Martin's been able to acquire for us. I'm going to pull this up. And this next one, Martin, this next one right here, where is this at?
This is Brashear's Furnitures.
Okay, Brashear's Furniture next to the Outback in Springdale.
Which we were talking about that Outback we had other pictures of it earlier, I believe.
Yeah, well, yeah, that's right. And we were told it was the north side of Fayetteville, but I guess it's probably Springdale, really. Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I think what I can do here is go through these pictures here and show our audience exactly, for those that are just joining us, some of the other pictures that we have been getting this morning, because we've been getting numerous pictures that have been sent in to our newsroom, to our ULocal Arkansas page. We love those pictures. They're great information. They help us really determine what we're dealing with. we look at some damage and we can go back and think about past storms and, okay, well, this specific damage looks, indicative of, the potential for EF1 damage or, EF2 damage. So this is a picture, as Darby was saying, this is Brashear's Furniture next to the Outback Steakhouse in Springdale. You can see debris tossed all over the place. It looks like the heavy damage to the roof was peeled off. It obviously does not look like there's power in the area as well. That's definitely something, as we check the power outage numbers here across Washington County, they're continuing to be the hardest hit with over 7,600 people without power in Washington County. Now in Johnson County, new numbers coming in, over 800 people out in Johnson County. Most of those are with Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative, dealing with those power outages. Again, no timetable for when the power might be restored. Here's another picture I want to show you from some of that damage from earlier across the area. You can see, this is in Springdale, I believe, numerous trees down, power lines down, as police crews were on the scene really starting to assess what was going on out there. This is another shot of what we showed you at Tzatziki's earlier. You can see damage to the fence. We showed you their front door at Tzatziki's basically sucked out. The doors opened by the power of the wind there. The screen's blown out. The glass is broken. Glass in the parking lot there at Tzatziki's. This was an image that we got from Highway. This was the potential, as we zoom in here, right where you can see my cursor, the possibility of maybe a funnel earlier today. Not tough to tell there. The angle's a little bit, crooked. Really tough to see some of that out there. Some of the other images that I want to show you here from earlier this morning. There's another look at George Elementary, the gymnasium at George Elementary, just heavily damaged. We got several pictures of that. That I would call that significant, if not catastrophic damage.
Yeah, demolished right there.
Yeah.
Just taken down right there.
And then there's one of the power pole that's bent.
Let's go back. Did you show the video?
Of the truck location?
Yeah, no, the video that we got earlier this morning. And I'll get back to that. I want to get back to the radar.
We'll get back to the radar here in just a second.
Yeah, I want to get back to the radar. And you were probably hearing me off of Robert's mic. I apologize for that. Let's go ahead and get rid of these pictures here. They have dropped that tornado warning. That makes sense in northern Johnson County. But we still have these severe thunderstorm warnings. Extreme East Scott County, throughout Logan County, and throughout Johnson County. And again, the big concern right now in Clarksville is, even though we've been seeing some of that rotation, it still seems pretty clear to me that the main threat is that of straight line winds.
And I was just telling our audience now, we now have over 800 people in Johnson County in the dark.
All right. So power outages now there in Johnson County. And we may eventually get some in Logan County. These are pretty intense in Logan County as well. In fact, let's go to we've got an RDOT camera there between Knoxville and London. Probably not going to be able to see much from it just yet because these storms aren't close enough just yet to that area. Just a little bit too far away, I suspect. But I'll take a live look there anyway, and we can kind of show you what it looks like there on the Pope Johnson County line. And there it is. Just kind of rain coming down. That's looking over the lake, river, branch of the river, Dardanelle there. And then this is
further to the east.
This is in Springdale, right?
No, this is
farther east.
On I-40. This is exit 81 near Pope, I believe.
Okay.
Near Russellville.
Near Russellville. Okay. Yeah.
There we go. There's another shot of I-40.
Yeah, I-40 there. Yeah, so again, pretty intense stuff here. Very intense stuff here.
But not tornadic currently.
Not tornadic, no, and that is important to know.
These storms still have damaging winds. They could have large hail, a little bit of frequent lightning. There could be some straight line wind damage with these storms, but the tornadic capabilities or the tornadic features of these storms seem to have waned for the time being as they exit most of our viewing area, which is good. Still have most of Johnson County and Logan County to go.
And the basic reality is here at this point, everywhere to the west of this area right here, everywhere west of here is in the clear of the severe weather now, okay? Everywhere to the west. So that's good to see right there, but still including that severe threat remains from Clarksville on over to Knoxville, the rest of Johnson County, most of Logan County, though not Boonville. Boonville, we are now in the clear of the severe weather. That storm that just came through with those very strong winds, that's passed off to our east, but we're not done with it in Paris, just now hitting us that next round in Paris, right over Mount Magazine right now. Very intense stuff. So we still have a large part of Logan County to get through here, coming into Scranton eventually, and then towards Spadra, Lamar, Knoxville, Clarksville, getting hit right now. So we're not quite through the severe weather event just yet, but we are at least noticing a lot of this beginning to transition farther off to the east. And in the video I was talking about, let me show you this one more time here.
While Darby brings this up, I will add that the Weather Service Office has canceled the tornado watch for Franklin, Madison, and Sebastian County. So green light in the clear there. This is the
Nilfisk warehouse. The Nilfisk warehouse in Springdale, about half of it. Robert was able to find it on Google Maps, what it looked like before the tornado and what it looks like now, and still no reports of injuries. If you're just now joining us and waking up and hearing about everything that's happened, we've had a nasty tornado move through parts of Springdale. Springdale schools are closed. We've got damage to many houses. We've got damage to, obviously, terrible damage to some buildings. We've had terrible damage done to George Elementary's gymnasium, cafeteria area. Thank God no kids were there at the time, and we still don't know of any injuries there either.
And the official statement from Springdale schools are all Springdale school buildings closed today. As Darby mentioned, George Elementary been damaged by that tornado, and the district maintenance staff is currently out there. They're assessing all of the damage. Obviously, we don't know anything yet about the status for classes tomorrow or the rest of the week. I'm sure there are many factors that will go into that decision, especially the power situation out there. That will be released later in the day as more information, as the district gets more information, they'll pass it along to everybody. So if you're concerned about your kids having school tomorrow and later in the week, as soon as we get that information, we'll push that out to you as well.
All right, and I want to get back to this again, the wind concern with these storms. And we're going to zoom in here. Still some pretty intense winds coming here through Logan County. The radar not necessarily estimating anything crazy, estimating 40 to 50 mile per hour winds, which is enough to maybe do some damage, at least for some, but not usually going to produce widespread terrible damage. A little bit stronger here in Johnson County, winds being estimated closer to 60. So around Clarksville, Lamar, Knoxville, these storms a little bit more capable, we think, of doing damage there in Johnson County. A little bit more intense with that Johnson County storm, which you can see did have a tornado warning on it earlier and is moving off to the kind of northeast. And should be exiting Johnson County probably around 9 or just after 9. And then we've got this storm right here in Logan County pushing, I guess, more to the a northerly component to it than that. So more of a this direction kind of thing coming toward Knoxville and London, Spadron, Lamar, and those areas. So pretty intense, but no new tornado warnings.
Thankfully.
And no serious tornado threats, though. I keep talking about these bookend vortices, and I know it probably sounds a little bit confusing to people, but it's these areas of rotation we get sometime within these lines. We'll have to watch for that with the storm in Johnson County, north of Clarksville. That's just something to kind of keep an eye on. So I wouldn't say the tornado threat hasn't dropped to zero, but at least at the moment it's very, very near zero.
It might be a good time now at 8:30 here, as some people may be just joining us, to briefly take us back to 4 a.m. and show us.
That's not a bad idea. I want to show you real quick this. Now we're up to around 826 exact power outages in Johnson County, and around 7,500 in Washington County. Exactly, the exact number is 7,608 people still. And then in Scott County,
that's new.
That's brand new, and you'll see that pop up on the map. What was that, Martin?
I just sent some more pictures of the Razorback Theater.
Okay.
Permission for those.
Okay.
And we'll get the Scott County power outages will pop up here pretty soon. It's not that many. It's how many is it?
59 for Arkansas Valley Electric
59,
Cooperative. Yeah.
For Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative in Scott County. So a few there as well.
And I just want to, quick shout out to Martin this morning, who's been our star, getting us all these pictures and videos that we've been passing along to you. Keep it up, folks, because, if you can get that stuff to us safely, we would love to see it, because it really helps us gauge the level of damage out there. And we have seen quite a bit of very significant, substantial damage, especially across Washington County, and Darby's going to show you exactly where that tornado was this morning.
Yeah, and this thing started to produce a tornado before the warning was ever even issued. The tornado warning. They did have a severe thunderstorm warning, which I think actually had a tag more than likely that the tornado was possible. But the rotation with the storm really kicked up very quickly.
Before I had a chance to even put my microphone on to do the cut-in for the severe thunderstorm warning, the tornado warning was up.
Yeah, and we were on the air immediately. I mean, immediately with that information. But that's where that rotation was, right in through here. And so downtown Springdale, I don't know, depending on how well you know Springdale, is really right in through here. It's kind of where downtown is, approximately, anyway. And so the most significant damage just south of downtown. You might call it the south side, I guess, but anyway, that's where the worst of the damage was, especially along Don Tyson toward Highway 71, Old Mission, between 71 and Old Mission crossover, however you want to call it, but. That area between Old Mission and 71 on Don Tyson, very, very hard hit. Hard hit.
We did just get an update from Fayetteville Police. In North Fayetteville, no reported injuries so far, which is certainly outstanding news. Again, that's direct from the Fayetteville Police Department in northern Fayetteville. No reports of any injuries. What was that last part, Kelly? Oh, yes, they definitely have damage in northern Fayetteville, in North Fayetteville, especially, we were thinking, Darby was talking about this earlier, that maybe the tornado touched down right around Lake Fayetteville. Yeah,
right around Johnson, very, very north Fayetteville. I would suspect that's where the tornado touched down and did heavy damage around Lake Fayetteville.
And
went right into southeast Springdale, did a lot of damage in South Springdale, and probably lifted, actually, I would suspect somewhere between Springdale and Sonora, it lifted.
And talking about Lake Fayetteville, just west, literally 2 blocks we got an email into us saying that massive damage at Main Drive and Bryant Place, which you could probably, from that intersection, you could probably see Lake Fayetteville based on the Google Maps of that intersection I was looking at. And we were also getting reports, I'll use the term upstream from that of debris falling from the sky.
Debris falling miles away. Insulation from houses that were damaged in Springdale falling in Hickory Creek, which isn't that far away, I guess, but it's a distance. That's a distance to travel. This picture right here from the Arkansas Theater there on the north side of town near the Razorback Theater. Near the mall, near Taziki's. You can see some clear damage there. Exactly what that is, hard to say necessarily.
Some decorative glass there.
Decorative glass. I see. I couldn't.
Pulled out as well also gives some reinforcement to the not straight line winds.
Right. Yeah.
Again, if you're just joining us, police asking you to avoid Don Tyson from Thompson to Old Missouri, avoid Black Oak Avenue, avoid Powell Street from Robinson to Don Tyson, stay away from any down power lines. You don't know if it's live or not. Traffic lights are out throughout that area. They've got crews out. Springdale has called in assistance from Fayetteville fire and emergency responder crews to assist them in their emergency response efforts that I'm assuming could last, a good part of the morning. We don't know yet how wide the damage is officially, Darby.
Yeah, we don't, but we know that, obviously enough damage that we almost anticipated that there would be injuries, and yet we still have not gotten reports of serious injuries anyway.
Correct.
Which is, as far as I'm concerned, a miracle. I mean, honestly, with that much damage at that time of day, early in the morning, it's also kind of a miracle that it didn't hit George Elementary, it didn't hit these areas later in the morning when more people would have been out, and of course more kids would have been at the school. So just a lot of blessings here in disguise, perhaps, but it's easy for us to say my home wasn't damaged, So it's a lot easier for some of us to say, but at the same time, it's important to recognize how much worse it could have been. But it is bad. It is bad there in Springdale. If you're just now joining us, it really is south and southeast side of Springdale, far north Fayetteville, around Lake Fayetteville especially. Pretty bad damage in those areas. But we still have storms ongoing. We're not done just yet. We're almost. In fact, in Clarksville, we're almost through this. We're pretty much through this first storm. There's still another one coming in right behind it here that's going to affect Clarksville, going to bring in some heavy rain and maybe some gusty winds again. I think our tornado risk in Clarksville is essentially over at this point. For the most part, if this storm right here were to try to circulate, it would do so somewhere in here, and it would more go toward the Knoxville area. So Lamar, Knoxville, maybe not as much out of the tornado risk. Clarksville kind of out of it, especially just to the west of Clarksville. Though in Clarksville, we will be getting another very heavy round of rain and probably some wind as well. So we're not done with the severe threat entirely, but maybe the tornado threat there. East of Clarksville, not done with the tornado threat yet. We are done with the threat in all of Scott County, so it's really just Logan and Johnson County now where we continue to see that severe risk. But again, no tornado warnings now on the map at this juncture in northwest Arkansas or the River Valley. And just this area kind of between Mount Magazine and Clarksville to the east, where we still have a little bit of a severe threat. We've got new photos. Let's go ahead and take a look at this. And this is the Guitar Center in North Fayetteville. The Guitar Center in North Fayetteville. Again, this is all kind of near the mall a little bit, and pretty nasty damage in there. Here's another one of the Guitar Center again. Some of the damage in this area. It looks like something was probably. That looks probably like one of those steel boxes a trailer or still one of those storage containers
I'm impressed with
that's been thrown into the Guitar Center.
the all-metal picnic table there in that image. You know, those are heavy.
Yeah.
And for that to get pushed or blown into the center of the parking lot,
Go back to that picture. Let me see what you're talking about, because I was looking at just the container, steel container. Okay, I see.
Yeah.
Those.
that's all
Those
one piece.
Metal benches. It's all one thing. That for that to get blown around, you need some very, very intense winds. All right, let's go back to our radar.
And the one thing I do want to let our audience know, Darby, is, you know, the tornado watch has been extended for Scott County and Logan County through 1 o'clock this afternoon. If that holds true,
For Logan and Scott?
for Scott County and Logan County, yes, that has been, the tornado watch is now through 1 p.m.
They must have issued. Did they issue another watch?
That's
Okay,
that's what I'm looking
I
at.
see,
Yeah.
I see. All right. Well, so what they did here, we'll go ahead and bring this up. What they did here was they issued a new tornado watch, and it includes Logan, Scott, Polk County,
Johnson County as well.
and Johnson County as well. And this new tornado watch goes until 1. But really, they're going to have to eat away at this tornado watch
they'll
pretty
trim
quickly.
it back.
There is a threat of another shower or thunder shower later on today, early in the afternoon, but not the kind of severe threat that we're dealing with right now. There could be an isolated stronger storm, but I don't think we'll have to be dealing with terribly, terribly intense.
I think the main threat the rest of the day is the colder temperatures that are going to slide in. Much colder air.
It gets much colder by 4 or 5 p.m. We're in the 40s and 50s.
Yeah.
We'll be in the 60s to around 70 at 1 or 2 p.m. And then just a few hours later in northwest Arkansas, temperatures will drop into the 40s. It's going to be a rapid drop in temperatures. You'll go from shorts and T-shirts to needing that jacket very, very quickly this afternoon.
Yeah, if you were with us last night at 10, that was one of the things I said. Take your jacket with you when you leave in the morning, because even though it'll be in the 70s, when you leave work today, you'll need that winter coat, because and tonight, we could have wind chills in the upper teens. With the temperatures near freezing, winds gusting 30 miles an hour, it is going to feel rude outside tomorrow morning heading to work, on top of, unfortunately, all of this damage that we've seen across, Springdale, portions of Johnson, a little bit of North Fayetteville, just a rough March 30th across the area in parts of northwest Arkansas and the River Valley.
And still rough
yes.
at the moment, but just for a few of us, still in the 4029 viewing area. So now we're talking this area really just between kind of Midway, still up to Clarksville, over to Fort Douglas. That's it. I mean, really, the only part of the 4029 viewing area is still kind of in that severe threat is right in through here. Okay, and so we're just basically talking eastern half of Johnson County and eastern half of Logan County. But still a straight line wind threat. Let's not be out on the roads. Let's not be going to school just yet. Let's give it another 30 minutes in Clarksville and those areas, and then we'll be able to get everyone off to school and off to work and on to their day. We do have Cole, right?
Yeah, I think we can go to Cole Zimmerman at the elementary school with, man, Cole, that damage behind you, that looks pretty rough.
Yeah, Robert, Darby, definitely a lot of damage here at George Elementary School. If you look behind me here, this is the gym, and it's destroyed behind me here. You can see the crews right now starting to pick up the sheet metal, pick up the scrap metal from the gym, and of course, just debris everywhere around the premises right now. That gym, obviously, I mean, you can see the structural foundation of it. You can see the insulation. It is completely destroyed. And not only that, but the houses behind it, you can see all of the debris in the backyards of those houses, and even part of the roof, it looks like, of the elementary school itself. You can see crews up on top of the roof right now, kind of assessing the damage there. All through this area, not only just at the elementary school here, but also on some of the streets surrounding this area, debris, trampolines, mailboxes down. We were seeing a lot of damage in all of the streets, and in fact, even to get to the school here, I mean, there's 3 or 4 different roads that are completely blocked off right now by first responders, police, because of power lines hanging over the roads, because of downed power lines. I mean, just a lot of damage here specifically. Again, taking a look back at the gym here, just really scary stuff here. Obviously, Springdale classes announced that the Springdale School District announced that their classes are going to be canceled today, and it's easy to see why here with this scary scene. We're going to send it back to Darby here in the studio, but again, just really scary damage here at George Elementary in Springdale. The gym completely ruined behind me. And of course, some of the roof even on the elementary school looks like it was torn off by the storms this morning. Debris everywhere, scary situation, but we're going to send it back to Darby now.
Yeah, Cole, just an incredible scene there. That's definitely the power of Mother Nature and why it absolutely needs to be respected. That's, we tell you, whether it's at 4 in the morning or 4 in the afternoon, when we tell you to seek shelter, it's to try to save your life. And thankfully, with this incident at the elementary school, it happened at a time where no kids were inside. We're only a few hours, I'm sure, from the breakfast program taking place, students starting to walk inside for the day. So, yes, the building was destroyed, but as I've said many times, and Darby will agree with me on this, and I think we have the picture of the gym here, buildings, possessions, personal items, that can all be replaced, okay? You cannot replace a life. You just can't do it, folks. So that's why we tell you to seek shelter, to have that plan of action ready, to have those emergency alerts turned on your phone, have the 4029 News app downloaded on your phone, have a NOAA weather radio just in case. Absolutely,
and what we're looking at right here, we believe is the George Elementary Gymnasium.
We have
what it looked like before the tornado, and this is now what it looks like. I mean, just extraordinary.
Yeah, I mean, you see...
And extraordinary that it happened at the time it did, before any kids would have been there. We still don't know of injuries. You can see damage to houses. These gymnasiums, by the way, as devastating as this looks, the thing about gymnasiums is that they are some of the most susceptible buildings a lot of times to tornadoes, because you've got very high ceilings, you've got very large walls. It's usually fairly well built structure, but just so much area for the winds to just pummel and for debris to pummel the side of what's essentially a hollow, large building with incredible amount of area for the winds to hit and for that debris to hit, and so. Yeah, it just kind of ends up being a little bit more susceptible to that damage.
We've rotated the image. So what you're seeing here, and this is what it looks like on a normal day, we believe. And you can see in that live shot, a lot of roof damage. But
to some side, this may be either the
administrative building or something like
nearby.
That.
Yeah. So, and then let's go back to the live image.
There we go. Yeah.
Yeah. So that's the same. Yeah. No, that looks right. If it's not right, maybe I guess it could be a different building. But no, that looks right. But maybe no. Anyway, the point is we've got exceptional damage here. Exceptional damage to the gymnasium. in Springdale at George Elementary. So just exceptional damage. You can see just what's happened there, and it's just unbelievable.
And for those, we've said this a few times this morning, and I want to reiterate this for those that are just joining us. It will take several days for the official rating and strength of the tornado to be determined by Weather Service survey crews in Tulsa. They will come out here, they will send a team, maybe as early as this afternoon. In fact, I'll probably send them a message here in a minute to find out what their schedule is. And they will go through all of the neighborhoods. And they have a whole list that they go through to evaluate the damage. And then we will find out here in the coming days. They'll probably put a preliminary rating on it. Usually that happens right away. And then after a more thorough survey is done, then you get the official rating. And usually it could go up, it could go down. They could say the tornado, based on what we saw, touched down twice, which is a thing.
Right. And I think what we were showing you earlier, the larger building may not have been the original building. I think it's hard to actually see the original building. Either way, the point is we've gotten significant damage. Obviously, I think that's the gymnasium.
Yeah, there it is.
Yeah, so the actual gymnasium, and our producer Pat kind of pointed this out to us, is likely this, at the risk of getting this wrong twice, but that's damage to the playground, which we can see the playground in the image that we have is kind of right over here. If you pull up the image we have right here, that's the live image before that playground. You can't see it very well, but if you take a look at the before image I brought up, if we can switch over to that was the playground, and then the gymnasium we think is actually right here.
Yes.
And then you can see the school over here. So we're trying to get our bearings straight, but you can see that was the gymnasium, and if we go back to the live video, and you can see how close it is to the elementary school. That's the playground near. Kelly, if you could ask them to pan to the right, back toward the gymnasium. We'll see that gymnasium. What it looks like now, and you can see the damage. Everybody trying to kind of come together and help. There's the gymnasium. So that's accurate. We didn't have it accurate initially, but we've got it accurate now, and that is the gymnasium, and just a totally different picture from what it looked like before.
24 hours ago.
6 hours ago.
Yeah.
Really. This thing came through at about 4 a.m. and just incredible damage. So that's what it looked like before, or this is what it looks like now. I'm sorry. And you can see the goalpost right there, and just the incredible damage to that gymnasium, which again, in these type of gymnasiums are particularly, again, susceptible to tornadoes because of the area. This one in particular doesn't look incredibly sturdy even before the tornado went through, and certainly was going to be a little bit more of a problem with a situation like this. And then you come back to what it looked like before. Come back to the before image. There's the before image, and you can see my cursor right here. There's the goalpost. So we've got that right at least. But
and that's an image. That image that we just showed you was taken June of 2019.
Yeah, June of 2019.
So, and the other thing that struck me as the camera was panning, and we talked about this earlier, was how sporadic the tree damage was. Some trees very heavily damaged. Others look like they had not even been touched.
It helps when the trees don't have leaves on them. They don't usually get quite as much damage to them.
Correct.
That usually helps.
The wind just blows right through them.
Blows through them a little bit easier, yeah.
The shot of the playground featured a very large tree that had split, and fallen through. It looked like the slides or the swing set there, the jungle gym, and that tree trunk looked like it was hundreds and hundreds of pounds that just got snapped in half by the power of this, the winds and the tornado that rolled through this neighborhood.
And to be clear, while this gymnasium it wouldn't be a safe place to be, obviously, in a tornado.
No.
There are some. I mean, I know that after the Joplin tornado, in Joplin, a lot of their gymnasiums were actually reinforced in such a way to make them the safe spot for a tornado. Now, that's a very different situation. Those are brand new schools, reinforced gymnasiums with special sections within the gymnasium to go in the event of a tornado. That's a very different thing. So some, not all gymnasiums are going to be unsafe in tornadoes, but this one, I mean, it's a standalone structure. A little bit. So we can't look at this damage necessarily and say EF3.
Correct.
But we can look at it and say probably EF2 or at least strong EF1, but maybe even EF2.
And the Weather Service office in Tulsa still ironing out when they're going to send crews here. They don't have that yet because it's so fresh. But this image that you're seeing, this is how you should be viewing it from home. Don't head down there and try to get pictures of it. It's too dangerous. Let the crews assess the damage, clean up everything. I'm sure there's a lot of tree limbs that are still broken or hanging that we don't know about yet. They haven't fallen or they still need to be cut down by crews. It's a very dangerous scene to be out there. Plus, it's still raining at quite a clip in some of these areas. Rain still falling across most of Washington County at this hour.
Light rain, but it's raining. I mean, it's
still no picnic to be outside.
No.
But yes, not the time to go sightsee and check out the damage for yourself. A lot of people, their lives have been turned upside down, and you just let them deal with that. For now, we'll bring you those pictures of some of these areas.
And again, Don Tyson between Thompson, Highway 71, and Old Mission, does that still remain closed?
As far as I know, yes. We have not got an update.
Okay. That's reasonable. Our producer's saying we still have to confirm that this was a gym. The initial reports that we got in from folks who live in that area, all of them essentially were, as far as I'm aware, were that it was a gym. But that's certainly something we've got to confirm with Springdale schools and all of that. But again, so very lucky here today, despite all the damage. This morning, so very lucky to not have had any fatalities as far as we're aware. But the fact that we're now, almost 5 hours out from when this tornado struck around 4 a.m., a little bit before, and still no reports of serious injuries or deaths. That's a huge positive. And our photographer out there.
Got to wipe the lens off. Yeah, right. You got to wipe the lens off. That's live TV. But
they did say that.
So Martin's got some information here for you.
The gymnasium has been destroyed, and the kitchen and cafeteria were both severely damaged. Currently, the maintenance staff is assessing damage, as we saw on a Cole's live
And this is on
shot.
their Facebook page.
Yes, this is directly from the Springdale Schools.
Okay.
Yeah, and assuming someone didn't, try to log into the Springdale Facebook page and post all this. What else is in there, Martin?
It's just mainly just the Springdale Police Department's all there. The City of Springdale and first responders are also all there. So the district wants to thank all the first responders for being there so quickly. But again, the potential tornado damage they took this morning destroyed the gymnasium and the kitchen and cafeteria, both severely damaged.
All right, that is via the Springdale
Facebook page.
That's Springdale Schools.
Yeah, Springdale Schools Facebook page.
Yeah.
Quickly, I want to do a reset of our power outage numbers as you take a look at that live picture. So, some counties, the power outages are a lot higher. So we've got 2 individuals out in Benton County almost 7,600 in Washington County, 7,300 of those Southwest SWEPCO, and just about 250 customers of Ozarks Electric Cooperative are out in Washington County. We have a handful of customers out in Scott County from SWEPCO. 15 are out. And then also quite a large number of power outages right now. If you're an Arkansas Valley Electric Cooperative customer in Johnson County, almost 830 outages there. We've got 3 outages in Madison, but the heaviest outages right now are in Washington and Johnson County. Those numbers fluctuating. No specific time for when the power will be restored, but obviously those crews will try their best to get those outages back. Have your power restored as soon as possible. But some of the pictures that we saw, a lot of utility pole damage in some locations. So it could be a street-to-street instance over the next couple of days here with those power outage numbers.
Yeah, and one more time here, we can see that this threat is about to exit Johnson County. And Robert, go ahead and give the information on this new warning that we've got here in Eastern Johnson County.
I will do that.
What we've got going on there.
Okay, so we still have a severe thunderstorm warning in Johnson County. Let me bring up that information for our audience here. So the severe thunderstorm warning in Johnson County, this one goes until 9:15, so about the next 20 minutes or so. We're talking 60-mile-an-hour wind gusts. Now, this is one of those storms that is really zipping along. This is toward the east at 60 miles an hour. This is about 6 miles to the south of Rosetta near Holman to near the Knoxville area. And you can see Knoxville there being impacted by this storm. In fact, I'm going to take us we've got a RDOT camera in Knoxville. I'll take you outside here as soon as I can load that camera up, and we'll show you exactly what those conditions look like at mile marker 69.7 crossing the Arkansas River here. This is what it looks like outside. You can see that very heavy rainfall. It doesn't look like the winds are too bad. I don't see those trees really blown around as you cross the Arkansas River, but a lot of rainfall is on that bridge. You can see how much ponding is going on. The good news is not a lot of accidents to report across the entire region, which is certainly good news. But with this storm, as we show you that 60-mile-an-hour wind gust, the main hazard, as that storm continues to clip along at 60 miles an hour, that's not the only one. Still looking. That's the last, and portions of Logan County as well impacted by that severe thunderstorm warning. That's the last one left in the area. You get to I-49 and to the west, things are pretty quiet for the most part, just light shower activity. We have a weak thunderstorm back across just to the east of the Tulsa area. Don't know if that's really going to hold together because, the storms that rolled through here this morning really sucked up a lot of the best instability out there. In fact, I can even show you right now what our models are saying for storm fuel. And there's not a lot left in northwest Arkansas and the River Valley, which is certainly good news. And you can see dew points are dropping, which is certainly good. You want to see the drier those dew points get into the 50s and 40s, that's really going to shut off the thunderstorm machine there out there. But you still see those dew points in the River Valley and in the Ouachitas there in the 60s. That's where we have the strongest storms right now, where we've got those higher dew points. And still some very heavy rainfall in Carroll County. Can't forget about that. That's a very mountainous region. There could be some localized, very brief flash flooding in that area. But again, you get into the I-49 corridor, and that rain becomes a lot lighter, non-severe, and a lot more spotty in nature, which is good news.
Right, and we can see the last remaining threat, very eastern tip of Logan County, very eastern Johnson County, really now starting to push into Pope County. I want to do a quick recap of everything for everybody before we get you back to regular coverage here. what we had happen. And we saw what we suspect was a tornado develop. We have to go back a good bit here. We saw what we suspect was a tornado developing.
Very quickly.
Very quickly this morning. If you're just now joining us, right here, and that tornado may have already, my suspicion is the funnel cloud was already forming, or at least the wall cloud, there over I-49 and, around north of Weddington, but not too far from the Porter Road exit. We started to see more than likely the wall cloud begin to develop. And then shortly after that, I suspect we actually had the tornado beginning to form just north of the bypass, right over. Tornado was, this is earlier today, this is at 4 a.m. Again, this is not right now, this is at 4 a.m. We started to see that tornado form right over the mall there in North Fayetteville. And then we started to see it really take shape right there over Lake Fayetteville. So, and we know we got a lot of damage around Lake Fayetteville. So that's probably about where this tornado started. From there, this tornado continued to the, continued to the northeast, and it looks like it kind of took a track right in through here. Now, not actually that broad, but you can see the rotation at its strongest right there right over George Elementary. Right over George Elementary when it was at its strongest, according to radar. Anyway, we'll see what the damage surveys show. But they're around George Elementary, maybe EF2 damage, we'll see, but certainly significant. Though, again, thank goodness, no reports of injuries, at least serious injuries. But anyway, the tornado probably continued for a little longer, but then you can see the rotation goes by the wayside by the time it gets just kind of a little bit northeast and a little bit east of Springdale. So very quickly, and more than likely this is going to show just kind of a short path right in through here, but obviously a very damaging path, partly because of where it went through. It went through a highly populated area, and many of you may have seen this already. This video we were showing you earlier today, I want to show it to you one more time because it really is incredible. The Nilfisk warehouse, about half of it, maybe not half, but a third at least, if not half of this warehouse, this building in Springdale, completely destroyed in a similar fashion to George Elementary's gymnasium. Both of these structures are the kind of structures that oftentimes fail in tornadoes, particularly those tornadoes as they get a little bit stronger because they've got such broad walls. They're essentially hollow on the inside, and they're not the sturdiest of structures usually, in my experience anyway. So damage to two very similar structures, Robert.
And we also had, which I'm sure you can show, we had that classic debris signature as well on the radar, which is really indicative. It's one of the main things you look for if you're wondering if we've got a tornado on the ground. And who knows, it'll take some time how far some of the pieces from that factory or warehouse were carried away from that scene. Like I said, we were saying earlier, we had, insulation falling from the sky. I believe it was up around Hickory Creek.
Miles and miles away. And this is what, again, an image from, you take a look right here from around the
Brashears
furniture. Next to the Outback in Springdale, that also, as far as we're aware, suffered damage. So widespread damage. Martin, did you say you have anything?